All right. Sorry about the poor camera angle. I had an inquiry today about how to move in court in an alleged criminal case when there's no injured party. And like I said, I do my best to do the good works of the Heavenly Father and help people ascend to the mind. And I appreciate all the support that you guys give me by donating to the classes, which gives me the ability to continue to do free stuff like this. So for those of you that are receiving this, haven't had an opportunity to attend the class, you really have your brothers and sisters to thank for me even being here doing this. So thank you guys for giving me a platform, believing in me to bring forward credible information that works in court to help liberate yourself, ascertain your offspring back, keep your hard-earned sweat equity and not frivolously give it away under the guise and pretense that it's the law. So let's get to the subject matter at hand. I had a gentleman inquire today. He says, Derek, generally speaking, in court when there's no victim, there's no plaintiff, what are some general defenses that you would weigh heavily on and use? And that's a very good question. It took me a long time to get where I'm at now. To the point now I really don't even need paper to beat up on these people that are lying, looting, pandering pieces of crap. So let's get to it. First and foremost, for and on the official record, I see no plaintiff has made a general appearance with sworn testimony under the pains and penalties of perjury that is independently bonded in this case. I invoke the Sixth Amendment, the right to face my accuser. There are no facts in dispute, and I, as a man, waive all benefits without God. And once I say something to that effect, I see no facts and evidence to the contrary that a plaintiff exists, and I believe there is none. So it's almost affirmative statement, but remember the onus of probandi falls back on the man who makes the claim. So when I finish it up with, and I believe none exist, I see no facts and evidence to the contrary, and I believe none exist, I'm putting the ball back in their court. I give you 5 minutes, prosecutor, to go find your plaintiff. Otherwise, this case shall be dismissed for a frivolous claim for which relief cannot be granted. And actually, I don't want it dismissed. It needs to be vacated because I'm not a private in the U.S. military. You ain't going to dismiss me, period. All right? I also let them know that I'm not a U.S. citizen. Now, for many of you with cognitive dissonance, you may think, oh, that's just, by golly, that's just crazy. Derek's not a U.S. citizen. They got you all believing that you're something that you're not. And whether you want to be a U.S. citizen or not is completely up to you. I don't pass judgment against people who want to be U.S. citizens. That's just fine by me. But hold on one second. I'm going to show you guys something. This is a DS-11 passport form. And in here is a place that's called Acts or Conditions. Now, I was on the phone last night with a woman who was born in 1944. She's a beautiful young lady, and she happened to be an English major. Now, I dropped out of school at the age of 13, and I had to point that out to her real quick. Just so you know, you're arguing with an idiot. It might not work in your favor. She just laughed. But she told me, well, don't worry, I'm an English major, and I dropped out at 14 years old. I said, wow, that's amazing. So anyway, we hit it off pretty well last night. And she said, you are telling me that in the acts and conditions, you have to line stuff out that applies. And I said, yeah. So let me just show you the menagerie of trickery they use against us. If any of the below mentioned acts or conditions have been performed by or apply to the applicant. Listen to me again. If any of the below mentioned acts or conditions have been performed, okay, that's one section, or apply, that's the other. The word or is the crux in the whole conversation. They do this shit all the time in legalese. This really isn't even legalese. This is just a menagerie of language that is caused to create you to be tossed into chaos mentally. Or apply to the applicant. The portion which applies should be lined out. Now, I'm going to read this to you, and you are going to shit yourself when I tell you that I line out everything on this page, because you're going to, in your cognitive dissonance, believe that it applies to me, that I am guilty of it. But you forgot about the little tiny word or. Okay? I have not, since acquiring United States citizenship or nationality, I have not been naturalized as a citizen of a foreign state. Well, in the application, it says, if any of the below mentioned acts or conditions have been performed. That's where people, they put that right out front. And people go, oh, well, I haven't performed that. I don't have to line that out. Or it says, or apply to the applicant. The portion which applies should be lined out. Now, they're doing it in a negative, like a negative averment almost. So when you put, I have not been naturalized as a United States, as a citizen of a foreign state, I have to line that out. Why? Because I have not. It applies to me. I have not. But here's where it gets interesting. I'm going to skip down a few lines on this DS-11 form. And by the way, this is a requirement. If you're trying to get your passport and you don't line this out, you admit to being a sex trafficker tourist, and you also admit to being a drug offender. You also admit to being a felon. If you don't read these instructions and you don't do this part, you automatically become a U.S. citizen. It's basically a litmus test, guys. And I was talking to this English major, and I said, believe it or not, most people, even if they graduated high school and college, don't have a reading level above 4th or 5th grade. She goes, Derek, it's very impressive that you know that. I said, yeah. She says, actually, the newspaper is written at a 5th grade level because, and she used the word retard, which I don't really use that word, but mentally challenged retard. I understand what she's saying. She's an English major. She's not using it in a defaming, derogatory way. That's the language. And she says most newspapers are written at a 5th grade level so everybody could comprehend them. And so she told me that I was wrong in my evaluation. And we went through it 5 times, and all of a sudden she goes, son of a bitch, he's right. So it was a good feeling to be speaking with a highly educated woman who was an expert in grammar, punctuation. And keep in mind, I never went through English. I didn't learn punctuation. I didn't learn any of that stuff until later on in life when I realized how important it was. So I want you to listen again to what I'm saying here. I'm just using the DS-11 as an example of how illiterate most of us are. And even I fall short sometimes, and I have to reread things 5, 6, 7, 8 times before a light bulb clicks. And that's why I do these videos, is to help you guys out, because it takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of time. I know you guys got kids or offspring that you got to keep up with and all their summer activities and sports, and you got a husband that you're making sandwiches for, and you're multitasking. The husband's out in the shop fixing cars or motorcycles or whatever the case may be. The point is, I know that you guys are busy, and it's hard to be able to have the time to wrap your mind around this. So I try and simplify it for you guys. So the first thing out the gate, everybody's like, special appearance, special appearance, special appearance. Yeah, I agree with it. Do I do it? No, because the only thing I give a shit about is who's the victim, because I'm an honorable man who just wants to make right with the world. So if there's a man or woman making a claim against me, let them come forward. I got a checkbook. I got access to horses, pigs, dogs, four-wheelers, houses. Let me know what let them come forward and speak now and tell me what they need, and I'll give it to them. So, in the court, I see no plaintiff who has made a general appearance with sworn testimony under the pains and penalties of perjury and independently bonded this case. And I believe none exist. Okay? I invoke the Sixth Amendment, the right to face my accuser. It's not the right to face your witness. Who gives a shit about a witness if there is no accuser, ladies and gentlemen? Let's use our heads here. I've been in so many court cases and sat in the court and listened to the alleged administrator, they're not judges, go over and over and over with all these people. You have a right to face the witnesses and cross-examine the witnesses. Who gives a flopping dick about the witnesses if there's no accuser? I mean, that's how screwed up some of these people are mentally after going through the public school system. They just sit there in cognitive dissonance and don't even question the fact, well, where the hell did the witness come from if there's no injured party? What did the witness really witness? Didn't witness shit, all right? He's a liar, a bold-faced liar, he or she is, whoever that witness may be. So, we're invoking the Sixth Amendment, the right to face our accuser. There are no facts in dispute, and I, as a man, waive all benefits without God. Why would I waive all benefits without God? What I'm waiving is all the privileges that man believes he's bestowed upon me. You ain't bestowed shit on me, all right? If anything, with your sinister ass, you tried to indoctrinate me to believe that your way was the way and the truth and the light. And after I spent 16 days in prison reading the Bible, I learned the truth. I learned the law. Like the tax man, who is he? Yeah, well, we could get into the taxes. Mr. Anonymous, I've been talking about that. He wants everybody to he wants to put a class together for a tax petition for everybody. That establishes jurisdiction. They don't have any jurisdiction because you're the creditor, but then he wants to go a step further, and there's 3 affidavits that go to 3 different entities, and every last one of them will come back with the fact that no, you don't have to pay taxes. No, you're not an obligor. And no, you're not a debtor. And he's been talking about that for the last few days with me. So that's going to be put in progress. He said everybody that follows you, Derek, should execute this process. It's $60 to execute it. And it will literally liberate you. And it also gives you the grounds to stave off any court that's bringing forward a claim without an actual victim, because everything is an excise tax. What other things? Denial of corporate existence. That's another one that could be utilized in the court as an affirmative defense. It's pretty simple. I'll do a video on it a little bit later. What else? What else can we go over? Territorial jurisdiction. We've got in personam jurisdiction, and we also have subject matter jurisdiction. All right. What other affirmative defense can a man rely on? And my thing is, I really don't want to create controversy in the court. Controversy, when I say there are no facts in dispute, that is to remove the controversy. That's a hard one for people to swallow. Without controversy in the courtroom, the administrator has nothing to administer, period. There's nothing to rule on. What are we doing here? There are no facts in dispute. There is no victim. Waive all benefits without God, which means I'm not part of your sick society. And the Constitution is very clear that I have a right to self-govern. And under the Law of Nations 192, if I surrender to the United States, I am able to keep my derogation of sovereignty as well as self-govern while invoking the protection of the military. So in your military court, your trickery isn't going to work on me. It's just not going to work. What are they really doing? It's banking. So I immediately go in and I remove and rebut the 12 presumptions of law. That's another great one. The next thing is, where are my rights, titles, interests, dividends, derivatives, debentures, hediments, general tangibles, general intangibles, chattel, security, trust residuals, rents, profits, proceeds, baggage, and effects? Where is all that? And you really don't even have to remember all that. The truth is, rights, titles, and interest, period. That's really all you have to say. I go on a tangent just because I can, and I understand what each and everything I just said is, including the assets. And I say that just to let them know that I'm not playing any games. Another affirmative defense is Form 56 yourself, then Form 56F yourself, then you Form 56F each and every last one of those assholes. You want to talk about making their assholes pucker up, that'll lure. Because although they'll say they have qualified 11th Amendment immunity, which we can rip that apart because they only take their oath under Title V, subsection 3331, which is a for-profit oath. And because they take the for-profit oath, they don't have 11th Amendment immunity, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see, what else can I go off on to help you guys out in a case where you're, false and fictitious language is another one. False and fictitious conveyance of language in the attempt to extort I as a man to unjustly enrich himself. That's another thing I established for it on the official record. And nobody rebuts it. Nobody rebukes it. Nobody challenges it. It is what it is what it is. Here's another great thing. I take exception to it as an appealable issue. Objection. I take exception to it as an appealable issue. I need a finding of facts and conclusion of law. I need you to put your fucking money where your mouth is. Yeah, that rocks their world too. A lot of the things I do, I would never tell anybody to do in a court because, quite frankly, you'll end up in jail. It's about knowing this stuff, being able to do it on the fly, standing with conviction and never wavering. I don't waver at all, especially when there's no victim, because here's the thing. If there was a victim, I would have already approached the injured party and already offered to settle before we ever even made it to court, because I'm an honorable man, and that's what we do as honorable men and women. And the whole facade of government would lead us to believe through the news media, which is really propaganda, that we're all evil and sinister and evildoers, and they never show, the greatness in mankind. They're always showing you the demise and the downfall, which is really minuscule in the grand scheme of things. With 9 billion people in the world is really, really tiny, and most of the tragedies they show us are either orchestrated on the news, for example, over in Iraq and all that stuff. They actually hire actors to lay on the street, and they start vans on fire and go, oh my gosh, a bomb went off today in Tel Aviv, and look at this. The other thing is, people are going to start waking up to the truth of what Israel really is. Wow. I'm not even going to go down that road. I'm sure they would cancel my Facebook if I did that, and unfortunately I wouldn't be able to communicate with many of you like I do. What else? So then you've got your corporate denial. I just like to hang them up on the bullshit. Oh, Trinsley versus Pagliaro. Trinsley versus Pagliaro, if you read it and you really pay attention to what it is brilliant. It gives you the ability to remove the prosecutor from the room, because the court cannot reach a summary judgment based on hearsay. And because the lawyer has no first-hand personal perfected knowledge, the lawyer automatically becomes a liar. Period. He's a liar. Now, I've called out a couple lawyers on that, prosecutors on that, and the judge always comes to their aid like a little sniveling snot rag. And he always says, well, they're not testifying. And I look at him and go, well, then what the fuck are they doing opening their fucking mouth in here? Yeah, you just gotta be quick. Another thing you got to be ready for is their contempt of court bullshit they like to pull on you. Contempt of court, there's only two kinds of contempt of court, okay? It's civil or criminal, period. If the alleged administrator from the bench says that it's criminal, he can't be the judge, jury, and executioner to his own fucking claim. So he's going to have to fire up a new court case, and he's going to have to make a general appearance with a sworn testimony under the pains and penalties of perjury with an affidavit of launch to it, bonding the case, okay? Claiming how he was harmed, injured, and damaged by you. He can't do that. And he might quickly say, well, it's civil. Great. Civil means that there's a contract in place, and I need you to produce the civil contract with wedding signature that I agreed to knowingly, willingly, and of my own free volition. That'll pretty much knock their dick in the dirt over the whole fucking contempt bullshit. The other thing you can do on contempt, now this is going to sound a little crazy, but I accept for value and return for the same. And you watch how quick that judge will jump off the bench if he knows what he's doing. He'll jump off that bench and run out of the courtroom. Why? Because you just accepted it for value and return for the same, which means he's now the surety. He's the one that goes to jail. So that's a funny one. Anytime the alleged administrator is opening their mouth in that court, they're making an offer to contract, and you just got to be quick enough to realize it. So this is why I pointed out the conditions and acts. Okay, if you go get a DS-11, go to the 4th page and look up the acts and conditions. And the reason for that is I want you to get used to the negative, the way that they ask things in the negative. That's exactly what a court administrator is trying to do. And it befuddles us because our brain doesn't work like that. Because in the public fool system, we are molded to think a certain way in a box. And we don't ever look outside that box. So, and if he wants a capital transfer in either case, he needs to make sure to place the revenue stamp on all legal documents. Yes, absolutely. You're absolutely correct, Keith. Keith's another brilliant man out there doing his due diligence and research. But I hope that helps the young man out who was asking me what was going on. Oh, excessive bail and bond. Let's get to that real quick. Nobody ever talks about that. I invoke the 8th Amendment because under the 8th Amendment, excessive bail and bond shall not be set. And excessive bail and bond gets a little tricky, and here's why. One, there is no money. So when you say 240, it's going to cost 240 to bail out. Can you bail out today? Did you notice? I didn't say dollars. All these people are telling me, oh, no, the judge said dollars. No, he didn't. He said 240. You want to know how I know? I've been in and out of jail my entire life. Okay, I know how these guys talk. And if he does say dollars, the next question out of my mouth is dollars of what? Dollars of what? Cash. Cash. Give me a definition. Cash of what? How much does it weigh? Where can I ascertain it? How do I get it? Because he who provides the ends provides the means, jackass. So if you're going to come out and act somehow that I'm ignorant of the facts, that there is no money in the economy and everything is negotiable instruments, and you're going to question my intelligence, I'm going to clown the shit out of you in court. I'm going to make you look so stupid it won't even be funny. You want to play games with me? Then I'm going to turn your ass into the IRS because you pissed me off, and nobody has 11th Amendment qualified immunity in the IRS. Nobody. Okay? So, let's get back to excessive bail and bond shall not be had. Plus, it falls underneath cruel and unusual punishment. Plus, there's no victim coming forward or a plaintiff making a general appearance with a sworn testimony with an affidavit under the pains and penalties of perjury who's independently bonded the case. Period. Nail the shit out of him. And I see no facts and evidence to the contrary, if established for and on the official record, and I believe none exist. And I take exception to your ruling or your order as an appealable issue. Period. And that's pretty much everything in a nutshell. And you just got to stay persistent and keep beating on them. The Form 56 really works. Also, the Power of Appointment Act of 1951. You can do this orally, ladies and gentlemen. Under the Power of Appointment Act of 1951, I now appoint you trustee. I am the beneficiary. The beneficiary is now known. There are no facts in dispute. I waive all benefits without God. I'm just here for my rights, titles, interest, dividends, derivatives, debentures, hediments, general tangibles, general intangibles, child security, trust residual, trust residue, baggage effects, rents, profits, and proceeds. All right. I just need the trustee to bring forward the security so I can properly endorse them with a qualified endorsement to make sure the court's made whole and everybody else is made whole. And then I want to see those rights, titles, and interests returned back to me. Period. The beneficiary for the beneficiary's use. Right? Real simple. Anytime there's no plaintiff, it's all just a banking transaction, guys. And that's something that you got to work with. The other thing that you got to pay attention to is their pleadings are such bullshit. Oh my gosh. If I made a pleading like these fucking prosecuting attorneys make, they would dismiss the case for a frivolous claim for which relief cannot be granted. They'd laugh me out the court. And yet, when I go to court, they say, do you realize if you don't accept an attorney that we're going to treat you the same as an attorney? And I'm like, great. I'm going to write a stupid ass pleading like that last jackass just did. And you better accept it, acknowledge it, and work with it, right? Nah, that's not the case. They'll never do that. But here's the fact of the matter. You can't say the defendant did or did this or did that or did this. Be specific. The other thing is they're always using pronouns. Who's you? Who's this, that, the, all these pronouns. And it took me a long time of working with Mr. Anonymous to be able to, as I hear it, just to call him out on it. I don't understand who you is. I need a definition for that. You realize if we can't come to a comprehension and an understanding or stand under the vocabulary everybody's using, then we have no contract. We have no meeting of the minds. There is no conviction. There is no need for a sentencing because we haven't achieved anything. So everything boils down to security. CFR 277211, all crimes are commercial because all crimes are commercial. All courts are tax courts. Everything is an excise tax. There is no money. Excessive bail and bond shall not be set under the 8th Amendment. You're going to have to qualify the species that you want. Once you say money or dollars or whatever, I just ask questions. What is a dollar? How much does it weigh? Where do you get it? I've had a judge say U.S. dollars. U.S. dollars haven't been in circulation since like 71 or something. No, even before that, 1933. I think it was, or 1930. We haven't had U.S. dollars in circulation, period. It's even before then, actually. Now that I think about it, we haven't had a U.S. dollar in circulation since, the Morgan silver dollar's last print was 1921. So other than that, I mean, we had greenbacks and we had all kinds of other fiat, but we haven't had a U.S. dollar in circulation for a long time. That's something to think about. Then when you offer them gold or silver as offering a tendering a payment under Article 1, Section 10 of the United States Constitution, they run from it. It's so funny. It's like vampires, those vampire movies. You give them a little bit of silver and they're like, oh, don't touch that. Oh my gosh, I can't hold that. It's so funny to me because the only way to pay a debt and that you're alleging that is due and owing is by gold or silver. A promise to pay does not extinguish the debt. It just merely moves it to the next generation. And I, for one, am not here to raise the national debt, so my offspring has the burden. Remember, the offspring will pay for the sins of the father. That's biblical, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody wants to know why I read the Bible the way I do. Man, I'm going to tell you guys something. That book, damn, I never knew it. And the thing is, they're never going to teach you this in church. You got to read that book on your own. Unfortunately, most people don't do preventative maintenance. They come to me after they've been done, got hooks put in them, and they're going, help me. What do I do? Man, I wish you would have done some preventative maintenance and read that good book at home in your own free time instead of letting some preacher run you through it. Because the way the preacher runs you through it, he's part of a 503c1, 503c1 organization, and because of that, he's governed by the government on how he teaches that book. That's dangerous. They even Rome used the Catholic Church to mold society, to do what they wanted them to do. Yeah, I heard a preacher one day tell his people, you're supposed to respect the government and obey the government. I said, yeah, a God-fearing government. Now, when in the history have you seen a God-fearing government? The only one I can think of is I can't think of his name now. I'm gonna have to get back in my Bible. You see that? I know when I can't remember stuff like that, I gotta get back in my Bible. But anyway, there was only one ruler that ever really followed the words of God, and he kept giving and giving and giving, and God just kept giving him more and more and more to the point where he just couldn't give it away fast enough. In fact, the Freemasons follow the teachings of that man, which is really interesting. That's what all your courthouses are. Solomon, that's what it was. All your courthouses are built and modeled after Solomon's temple. Solomon was a guy who kept following the good Lord's word, and everything that was given to him, he would just give away as quick as he could. And he kept praying to God, God, stop giving it to me. I can't get rid of it fast enough. And he says, hey, you're charged with the duty now. Keep giving it away. And that's true in life. It seems crazy, but the more giving you are, the more you get in return. And you just got to keep giving it away, because ultimately, at the end of the day, that's what makes this place a better place. And we are getting there, so don't be so down and in despair. And I understand that in your time of need, it's difficult to see the silver lining. I've been there. Multiple times I've been there. Thoughts of suicide, depression. So if you got those thoughts, make sure to reach out to your friends and your family, because we're all going through some shit. And normally it's the happiest guy in the bunch, the one who's always making people feel good, that's actually on the verge of leaving us way too soon. So pay attention to those signs. Make sure your friends and your family and your people in your community are doing all right. We are making a hell of a difference, guys. I am seeing different results in the courtroom that I've never seen before. I'm seeing administrators start to realize that, look, we're getting ready to put your asses in Guantanamo Bay. They didn't bolster Guantanamo Bay with $200 million worth of new assets for us not to utilize them as Americans. We are the Supreme Court. We as man are the Supreme Court. We are the highest authority. We are above them. They are our servants, okay? They're tasked with the duty of protecting the land of milk and honey. I understand that now. Many people may not receive what I'm saying today, but it may come to you later in life. Don't let that be discouraging. They are gatekeepers, all right? And they are tasked with the duty of keeping the heathens, the ones without God, out of the land of milk and honey. So, but don't let that fall into your mind as far as me trying to cover for them, because I'm not. They're involved in human trafficking, trafficking of persons, trafficking of children, trafficking of our elders. They're stealing the estates from our elders under the guise that their principal has somehow been affected, which is complete, utter bullshit malarkey. All your loans have always been paid for by your signature. You are a creditor. You have the capacity and power to create an American bank note, but because of our lack of knowledge, we leave blank endorsements on these notes, and they whisk them away and turn them into negotiable instruments, which alters them from the original intent. That's another thing. Intent is everything, ladies and gentlemen. Don't want it. Nuremberg Code. Yeah, I'm not following the chat. Sorry. Anyway, with that said, the only reason I came on here today is a young man asked me what I would use as a affirmative defense, and I use what I just spoke about, and then I also go on the offense. I go on the offense with Title 26, 2603, 2203, 2002, 2032, AE11, and if you go read them, you'll understand why. That's Title 26, 2603, 2203, 2002, 2032, AE11. So with that said, I'll let you guys go. I got more work to do. I got a mountain of work to do as far as using Mega. It's just a horrible... It's not working out as efficiently as I thought, so forgive me. I understand you guys are trying to grab that class. We're getting through it slowly and painstakingly. Hopefully here in the near future, I will have everything automated. You'll have instant gratification. Thanks again for everybody that donates, contributes, joins the classes. You give me the ability and the platform to do this for people, and we are making a difference. So say prayers for everybody, and keep your heads up, and we'll keep pushing forward. Again, no plaintiff has made a general appearance with sworn testimony bonded in this case, and I believe none exist. I see no evidence to the contrary established for and on the official record, and believe none exists. And I take exception to it as an appealable issue, as I invoke the Sixth Amendment, the right to face my accuser, which is protected by the Sixth Amendment. There are no facts in dispute, and I as a man waive all benefits without God. I see no man in here claiming harm, injury, damage, or loss today, and believe none exist, ladies and gentlemen, and I take exception to it as an appealable issue. And I challenge territorial jurisdiction. I don't see any facts and evidence that territorial jurisdiction has been established for and on the official record, and until territorial jurisdiction has been established for and on the official record, material fact and evidence for which I can lay my eyes on and inspect it, which means it needs to be in physical documentation, put in the case file jacket, on and for the official record. Simply saying that you have jurisdiction will not work with me, and I take exception to it as an appealable issue. All right? And because of that, I demand that you vacate this case, because you ain't going to dismiss this case, because I ain't a private. I'm not a U.S. citizen. I'm not an enemy belligerent combatant. or a hostile or a heathen of the United States. I am an American man. I have a place of nativity. I'm considered an Arizonian, and most of all, I am a citizen of the kingdom of heaven. I'm just a sojourner passing through here. Just going to be around for a day. A day is 1,000 years in the Bible, by the way. So when everybody says that God created the heaven and earth in 7 days, they ain't read that book very well, because it wasn't 7 days, because for every 1 day in heaven is 1,000 days down here. So, yeah. So, with that said, we'll talk to you soon.